Well, hello there, friends. Welcome to my art studio. Don't mind the messy hair. I just wanted to share something with you because I'm in a moment of inspiration, if you will. I'm Dawn Herring, and I'm in my studio, and I was watching a video of someone sharing art supplies through a sketchbook revival, I believe it's called. Yes. And I brought the recording into my studio space and I got inspired. So I thought I would show you what I did real briefly. Of course, I've been working on the same spread in my art journal for like months and months and months. And of course, I've shared a couple of videos prior to this one, you showing my progress from, from initial concept to the various layers and mark making and that sort of thing that I've done. And I'll link that here as well so that you can check that out too if you want to. But as I was getting inspired by watching the video that I was checking out, I had this piece. This is like basically just like packing paper that had this very interesting cutout on it. Kind of like punctured all the way through. And I initially was thinking about trying to use it as a stencil to add lines to the design that I'm already working on. So what I did was I got my gouache paint out, which I have right here. Yes. And I decided to use some black because black is the primary color that that I've been using in this art journal spread, and I'll show it to you in a minute. So I tried using, this is my roller. I put some gouache paint on my roller and I rolled it onto the paper, but it didn't go through, so it doesn't work as a stencil. But of course, it's all about experimenting, right? That's really what it's all about. It's about play and seeing what happens and what you can do with what you have in your hand. And so I decided, after I did a bunch of rolling of gouache on the paper, since I couldn't use it as a stencil, I decided to tear off the layer because there's more than one layer of this packing material. And I just ripped it off and I decided to cut it into squares, and then I glued it down on my substrate here. So I'm going to turn the camera around so that you can see what I did. Okay, here we are. Don't mind the sunshine. You can see the sun shining through the blind here. But anyway, so these are the little squares that I cut out right here. See, you can see the gouache paint that I rolled onto the paper, and I originally was going to use it as a stencil, but it didn't work. It didn't come off onto the page like I thought it was going to. But it's really cool that I have these random paint marks on these squares. See, it's just very random the way I rolled it on there, and I just love the way that looked. So I decided to use it anyway and just cut it into squares, and then I decided to glue them down right along here, kind of like in a pattern, just to add some visual interest. And I will probably end up possibly putting gesso on top of this and kind of like covering a lot of it up, just like I did with the previous collage papers that you can see in previous videos that I'll link on this one. And I'll probably do the same thing here. So it'll add some more texture and more layering on here and more visual interest. So I just thought I would show that to you because it's like in the moment and I'm really inspired right now. So I figured I would share that artistic inspiration with you. Yes, I just love doing that. So you just never know what is going to inspire you, whether you're watching something that somebody's doing online, that's artistic based, that just gets your juices flowing, which is what happened for me. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to bring this into my studio space and I'm going to see what I'm going to do next. And it's all about experimentation. That's really what it is. It's about just seeing what will happen with what you have on hand. And I also have this tool. It's a clock that I plan to use at some point in the spread. It's been sitting here for probably 3 weeks. Yes, it's been sitting here for a very long time, but it's very patient. Doesn't get mad at me if I don't use it right away, right? It's just there. So I'm going to leave it there again. And I'm just glad that I ran with the inspiration that this gave to me while I was watching someone online, Sketchbook Revival, I believe it's called. And so that's what I did. And it's so cool when you discover the things that work and things that don't work even, and what you can do instead. So that's what I did, and I hope I inspired you to get creative. So you have yourself a delightful day, and remember that gentle is magic.